How's it been going?
It's been going good. I'm in a good routine.
Long time no see. Long time no
I
see.
know.
Long time no see. It's been. I listened to the podcast with you on it back then, man, and we were all over the place, bro. Back then, myself, because I just started at that time. Really, you were like my 17th episode.
Good. I'm glad I made it in the top 20.
Yeah, you're the top 20, man. Now we're at like 350 something. So,
I know.
you came a long way.
Y'all consistent. Y'all been doing great.
You're doing some hella work, man. Hella work. So, man, we happy to have you on the show again. All gas, no breaks with my man Primetime Beats. Yo, if you could let the people know, where they can find you, who you are, what it is you do, and we'll start moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks again, Santi, for the intro. What's up, everybody? My name is Primetime Beats. I'm a music producer based in the Washington, D.C. area. You can find me everywhere on primetimebeats.com. On all socials, it's Primetime Beats. So, just a quick little background on me. I started in music since I was a kid. Then I was in several bands, moved out to California for a while. I was active in the band for about 10 years. Then after California, moved to the East Coast, completely changed from a band to now full-time producer and also instrumentalist. So things have been going well, man. I had some about 3 projects that I already released, and now I'm just, I'm back. We're just working through single every month. Expect a single from me. That's kind of what
every
I've been
month. On. That is no joke. You're really testing the creative mind.
Yeah, but the good thing is, I had some time off, and with that time off, I kind of been creating the background. So really for the rest of the year, I was like, I'm gonna challenge myself and just make. It's already so much music that's already been produced, so many collaborations. So I'm at the point now where I just line them up, and I could commit 30 days to really, put some work behind every project, every single. So we're on number 1. And we just gonna keep going.
I can tell something that I did as well. When you take that break, you didn't take a break from music. You took a break from, you're saying, putting it out, marketing it, getting it seen, but you were in the background just stabbing at tracks, making songs. But you play instruments. Are you a composer? Are you a beat maker? What is it? This is the title that you like to go with. And let me do this before we jump into questions. I love this. I love talking to musicians. So I jumped on in, but Super Saiyan Santi at our All Gas No Break podcast. You know us. Shout out to Quantity Revolver. Shout out to my boy OG Frank. Shout out to Red Croc. Shout out to Rex Carolus. That's my team. But right now it's just myself and Primetime. And keep liking, keep commenting, keep subscribing. Right down there, click that. Hit the notification bell so you know when new episodes come up. But thank you guys for rolling with us. But yeah, going back to my question.
Yeah, so I consider myself a music producer because I produce different types of music. I play different types of instruments. But the reason why I consider myself that is, my main focus is on instrumental music, but I do a lot of collaborations. Occasionally, I'll do a guest in an ensemble. So, I don't limit myself to say, oh, I'm only a beat maker. I feel like I'm composed of all those things because I'm making beats, like physical beats, but I'm also writing music, not writing the notes, but, I'm writing the different arrangements. And I'm also working closely with artists, and here and there, very recently I started doing like backgrounds on songs that I'm producing. Just, if I hear something a bit more and could add to the vision of the artist, they might not be a singer. I'm not a singer, but I could harmonize. So just small things like that. So I feel like I'm overall a music producer because at the end of the day, the music is what's the most important. And I'm just doing my part to make sure that the overall vision of the artist or the vision of the song that I'm working on gets completed.
Okay. And you spoke on the topic, the collaboration.
Yeah.
How do you approach collaboration with these different artists? And what do you find most rewarding from the collaborations?
Yeah, so me personally, most of the collaborations that I've had with songs that are already released and are already out, they seem to happen organically, but a lot of them long distance. A lot of the people I work with, they're in Philadelphia, they're in California, somewhere in
Shout out
Canada,
Philly. Shout out Philly. I love Philly.
yeah, shout out to all the collaborators I'm working with
Yeah.
all over the world. And honestly,
Fantastic.
a lot of times these start with just a voice note. And for me, that's
Mm,
my favorite way of collaborating when we can't be in the same room. You send me a voice
mm,
note because I already
mm,
know that with the voice note, you have a solid idea. Then for me, it's a bonus because I'm just building around the voice note. So there's no conflict with adding instruments because your voice is the main instruments and I'm just building like the support around the voice. So
so when you
that's
say a voice note, meaning they literally sing into their phone and they send you
yeah.
a text message or email of the harmony.
Yeah. So if you, as an artist, a lot of them come up with ideas in different ways. But if you come up with if you have like the chorus or what the verse kind of sound like, it doesn't have to be words, just the harmony or the melody. From there, we can build a music around it. And then from you building the music around it, then the vocals will just sit really well in the production. So that's
Mm,
one way that I like to collaborate. Uh, I mean, I also like collaborating, like giving someone some music and have them completely reimagine it and put their flavor on top of it. But for me, whether it's voice notes, whether it's I'm sending you the music or whether we're together, what really matters to me is just that whatever the vision is for the music, we agree to say, okay, yeah, we're gonna do this together and make
mm.
that like that's really the goal always is to like make sure the vision comes to fruition. And that kind of rhyme, but yeah.
Mm. And you've been doing it lately more virtually than in person.
Yeah, definitely more virtually. I mean, if
Mm.
you don't even need to touch on COVID, but even from like the
Yeah.
COVID days, everyone was out as much as possible. So you found different ways to start collaborating more. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for me personally, I always found that if I can't be in the same room with someone, they send me what they have as a
Mm-hmm.
reference, and then we'll
Mm-hmm.
create the music, and then you go back and then you lay it down. And then from there, it's just mixing and getting it right.
So, do you also complete the entire song? Do you just hand them over the track, or do you also mix it and then master it as well? Are you a part of the entire process, or you just more? I made the beat, I hand it over to them, and then they do it from there.
So that's a good question. I can mix. Definitely not a master and engineer, but what I personally like to do is I like to get the song back, get the stems, and I put my mix on it. Then I send it to an actual mixing engineer whose job 100% is just to mix, and then a separate mastering engineer because my ear
Mm-hmm.
is my ear is my ear, and once I'm with the song for a while, like I need to step back and let someone objectively look at it in a different space or
Mm-hmm.
just a different ear versus like
Mm-hmm.
my ear. So like I produce it, I mix to the best of my ability, get it to the place where I want it to be, and also provide them references. Like, look, I want it to sound similar to this song. That's something I learned from a close friend of mine, Malachi Mott, to always have references. So I always get the mix to where I want it to be, and then just like have the engineer do what the engineer does, and then that way I could be the producer, but step back objectively and let someone really get the final mix that I want.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, I asked that question because I was in music for a while as well, and sometimes as music producers we take on a lot, and
Yeah,
like you said, I love that answer you had. The air, different ears bring out different qualities of the song. But I'm a control freak, so at the end of it, even after I send it to the master, I still go, "Hey, let me take a listen." Because sometimes after they've identified something, I'm like, "Oh, there's one more." But then if you keep doing that, sometimes just you could make it trash. But I just at least try to hear it one more time. But that's great that you have a team of people that you trust beyond the music that you create.
yeah, definitely. I have like two dedicated people that I could count on. They know my
Nice.
sound, I know their sound. So, you know, earlier in the process, it was similar to what you mentioned, where it's like you get something back, then you say, okay, tweak this. But as you work over and over, they start to understand your style and what's important to you from a sound standpoint, and you understand their style. So I always recommend, like, yeah, having engineers are crucial to the game. And I'd say, you know, pay them well, because they're responsible for, they're your only barrier between your fans, the listener, and yourself. So yeah, definitely make sure the engineer, you have a solid engineer, someone you trust, and they want to ensure that your sound is as great as you want it to be.
I love that. I love that. So guys, yo, everybody listening right now, man, you getting the full package over here, my man. You getting with my man over. You getting the full pack. You getting it. You getting the track. You getting the mix, and you getting the master. So make sure you pay attention to that. Primetime Beats, man. That's how it's done. So let's talk about where you've been, where you've lived. You're Jamaican. You're of Jamaican descent.
Yep.
Correct.
I was born there. Grew up there.
Born in Jamaica. Grew up, raised in Jamaica. You lived in LA for a bit. Where else have you lived? Then before coming to DMV. Where else have you been?
Yeah, so before that, I lived in New York for a while. So from Jamaica, then I moved to, my family and we lived in New York for a while. Then I lived in Maryland for a little. And I lived in the Uniondale, Hempstead area.
Okay, Long Island. Caribbeans, whenever we come to America, the first stop is New York. Like, that's like our stomping ground. We have to go there first.
It's close. Florida is close too. So Florida and New York, you don't find a lot of us.
Yeah, but, So the reason I asked that question about the places you've been, how has living in those places influenced your music and your creativity, and your approach to making music?
Yeah, I really like that question. I feel like I don't get that a lot. So I feel like living in different places definitely have a huge impact on your music, but not only the places, but I feel like the time frame. And that's why I love being a music producer, because I feel like all I'm doing is I'm just time stamping different times in life, So when I lived in New York, that was really my high school era. And high school was really when I got like into or started being curious about like production. Because before that, I've been a musician like my whole life. So I've been playing different instruments. But in high school, my brother had gotten a MPC 2000, and I was just curious about it. But before that, I was just always playing. We had the Casio keyboard and we had the Yamahas. We had keyboards, but we never really like sequence anything. It was just always live, live playing. But then I got curious in high school, and then my first year of college, I linked up with actually Rado. So shout out to Rado, the Dreamer. We actually had a single out right now called Feel So Good. So yeah, I met Rado in college freshman year, but even before Rado, let me take it back a quick bit in New York. Close friend of mine, Ricardo, goes by Dimes. Like, he's probably the first person that I started producing music for, because when I went to college freshman year, he was like, hey, I've been writing. And I was like, yo, I've been making beats. And it kind of just came together organically. And then I had someone I was producing for all the time. And then same freshman year, I met Rado, the Dreamer, also met GF the Godfather. Shout out to both my guys. And yeah, Rado, the one who gave me the name Primetime. And I just added Primetime Beats to the end for branding. But I had consistent artists. So they're both from Philadelphia, and I had consistent artists that I was always producing for. So another, I'd say, tip / bonus for any producers, if you have like an artist that is close to you, a friend, or just someone who's like really, really about it and really writing, and you're either starting out or established, like, that's where you want to start building with, because you're going to learn their sound, they're going to learn your sound, and before you know it, you got a catalog of music with someone that you have access to. So yeah, those were my guys, and we started producing. But back to the question of influence based on where you live. So New York had a big influence on me as far as starting my production journey there. But then I went away to college in Pennsylvania, and then I was with my guys, and we did a lot of producing for those 4 years. And then I lived in Maryland for a little while. Then I was in a live band called Reading the Band. Shout out to my guys, City Lights. Tony, aka Seven Strings. I see you, my guys. We were in a live band together, and that's what brought me to LA. You know, we toured the DMV as much as possible, did Rams Head, did all the circuit down in DC, and then we were like, yo, we need to go on tour. And we booked a 30-day tour. We went on tour to LA, relocated to LA, and we started working out of LA. And we were active for 10 years. So I think moving to LA influenced heavy my alternative side. You know, before I was always been alternative with the different instruments, but being in a live alternative band, think like Lenny Kravitz, The Nerd, like that kind of sound, like that really elevated, like I'd say my production game overall, because I was still writing with the band. We wrote together as a band. But then once I got back into just electronic music and then moving back to Maryland, you know, whole different vibe from LA. I kind of started honing like the instrumental side of production, and that's when I started releasing like more instrumental projects, but still collaborating.
That was a travel. That was a nice. That was some traveling. When you were in LA at the time when I first met you, you were working with, I believe, Sony. Sony Pictures. How did that all? How did that fare? Because I know that you're back now. You still doing that, or what is it that you do more primarily? Are you focused 100% more on your music production?
That's a good question. So yeah, when I was in LA, I was with Sony Pictures on the operations side, and once I moved back to the DMV area, the Washington area, I started focusing more on like the automotive space. So right now, like I'm in an operations like lead role at, you know, an OEM where, you know, operations is really like my strong suit. So like that's like from a business standpoint, outside of music, like I'm also like heavily involved in operation.
So that's what you bring towards your music, I'm assuming. The finite, like you follow a rubric, you create it. So you make your production, you probably have a template that you probably fly through quickly now because of all the years you put in, and with being an operations manager, I can only assume you have a gameplay. You have a gameplay that you can easily implement at ease.
Yeah, I say definitely, you know, having like an operations background makes me and helps me to be very structured. So from my templates, from my production, and not only that, but just, you know, strategy of how I'm releasing music and how I want to keep presenting it, you know, to the world. So I think that's, you know, having a business background or any kind of business background is always going to be a plus, especially when it comes to, you know, putting your strategy together. And realistically, what I'm doing right now with these singles that I mentioned for, you know, at least every 30 days, like I'm just running a pilot on all the music I already have and that I'm going to release. And, you know, I'm happy to give the play of that's what I'm doing. I'm putting it out. I'm putting the content around it, and I'm just looking at the numbers. I'm seeing what people are, you know, engaging with, and whoever's like interacting with the music, I'm interacting with them. And then next month, I'm just going to do the same thing again and just keep moving towards like wherever the interest is and wherever the engagement is. Like I'm going to keep presenting the music in that space.
And you're working it every 30 days. So after the music is out, you're going to fixate on what the consumer is saying and what they like and what gets the most engagement. And then how do you wrap it up? When is the wrap up till you understand what you're looking for?
Well, the wrap up will just be, you know, there won't be like an ending point. It won't be like a project that has like, you know, it starts and an end. Like it's just going to be more of like, I'm just embedding this into my system. So whatever I see working, you know, I'll keep putting things towards that part that's working, and I'll just refine like the system I have. So if a part's not working, then I'll just do less of that. But ultimately, overall, the music is going to still be like the main driver of everything that I'm doing. Like I'm testing all these different things to see what's working, like what the people that are following me or not following me are engaging with. But either way, like that, the music is still going to be the vehicle. And that's just to figure out like how to best move the music forward and present it in a way where the people that are engaging with me want to accept the music. So I'm thinking about it from two sides, not only from what I want to give to the people that I engage with, but I want to, however they're like engaging with my music, I want to make sure that I'm showing up how they want to engage.
Understood. That's great. I would suggest, if I could put a suggestion on it, social media.
Yeah.
It's very important. How important is social media for what you're doing currently? How important is social media?
I'd say social media is a very important part of my strategy. You know, like I'm starting from a different point of view as far as my previous releases goes with social media. So I feel like previously I would do like a lot of ramp up in the beginning. And then once my projects were out, you know, then I would just on a decent pace, like promote them and like move them around, versus now I'm just completely looking at it differently, where now I'm just putting the music out and then I'm going to do the push behind, with social media being like my main vehicle, you know, afterwards. You know, I have a pretty decent reach, you know, from the different platforms that I'm on. However, I want to ensure that, you know, I'm introducing and doing my best to get the music, especially the instrumental music that I do, get that to a wider audience. And social media is like definitely the vehicle that I'm using. So my Instagram, like Facebook, but not only that, but looking for similar companies that, you know, have artists advancement in mind. Like a Symphony is a company that I've recently, you know, started using to like do pre-saves for my releases. And then once you do a pre-save, then the link just automatically becomes like your direction link that points everyone to their different platforms. But any company that's doing any kind of forward thinking as far as independent artists goes, I also like that too, because we're moving in a tech space very fast. So I want to ensure that I'm working with and partnering when necessary with tech companies who are moving music forward.
I would suggest then also, besides, you know all the social media platforms, but don't sleep on that LinkedIn. People don't take advantage of it. Like people that are creatives don't take advantage of it. I'm seeing some people go on there now, but I just give you my own example. One day I did 60 posts in 60 days. I just told myself I'm gonna do 60, because one of my buddies said he did that, and just wanted to see what it would do. And it grabbed the attention of industry people that I needed. It grabbed the attention of podcast heavy hitters. And not only that, it grabbed the attention of PR agents. So that's my advice. Get on that LinkedIn. And if you can do a post daily, you know, follow me on it. You'll see I try to post as much every day as possible, but it churns. It's all about how much you're putting out. So that's my advice there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We're, you know, we're in a content based, a short form kind of world right now, where it's like, you
8
know,
to 15 seconds.
You have to meet the people where they are. You know, if you look at different time frames with music or any kind of entertainment, like wherever the people are, you have to meet them there. And I feel like now it's a lot easier than it was. Like, yes, it's a lot of music being released. It's a lot of entertainment. However, you know, it's also a lot of people like listening. So you find your niche and you work that and you expand. So,
and it'll work. It'll work with consistency. People always ask me, what advice you got for me? What advice? Everyone always asks me that. And I say, consistency. Consistency is key. Fail. You're going to fail. It's not going to be great at first, but if you keep stabbing at it, eventually it will get better. And that leads me to my next question. In regards to instrumentation, what does your typical creative process look like when creating instrumental tracks versus tracks with vocalists? Because we spoke on that a little bit briefly.
Yeah, I like that question. So for instrumental, like, you know, I'm a melody person first. So 9 times out of 10, I'm going to start with on the piano or the keyboard and work out the melody that way. You know, I'm a drummer also, but it's rare. I know for a lot of music producers, a lot of them start with the drum because, you know, once you got the drums down, like everything else is just bonus on top. And I like that
Okay.
approach. But I feel like for myself, you know, I always start with the melody and then the drums will come after. You know, some of them might not even have drums. So for me, melody is king. And if you notice, you know, you might love a song and you might not know every word of the song, but you know every melody of the song. And
Very
someone
true.
might be in a different country that don't know the words, but they know the melody. So it's like melody is always going to be like what I focus on because I find not only for myself, but I feel like people who love music in general, you tend to always remember a melody before you remember like anything else about the song. So I'm always going to focus on melody first because my goal is always to capture the feeling, like, you know, like whatever feeling I'm feeling. And if it's making me feel a certain way, if I could express that in the music and have the music be the vehicle that makes someone feels a certain kind of way, like how I was feeling, like for me, I feel like my job is done. So I chase the feeling and the melody is responsible for that.
That's ingenious, and you're correct. I was producer at one point, and I did fixate. I remember when I was learning and I was getting better at it, I was fixating on the drum pattern and the beat because everyone, you know, we're so heavily influenced by the beat. But then when I started doing more reading on production and looking at Motown and those guys, especially Motown's primarily, everything was about the melody in Motown. And to this day, that family, that name is getting paid because of all of the melodies. And we can't also forget they had Smokey Robinson writing, but
Yeah.
still, and Melody King, you know what I'm saying? So that approach is tremendous because that approach has proven to us it's everlasting.
It is. And if I could add another point on top of what you just mentioned, which is very key, if you notice for live performances, you know, like if you have a song with a really good melody, when you do it acoustic, it's going to
Mm.
translate well. And that's something that
Mm.
I pride myself strongly on. It's like whatever I'm making, I want to make sure that it can be performed live because for me, it's not a one stop where it's like, look, I'm just doing something that's going to be streamed or get to the radio. Like I'm thinking I need this to be played live. I want people to
Mm.
redo this. And I want people to remake it because that just creates more version, which just, you know, sends more dollars to your copyright. So for me,
True
I
indeed.
want stuff that people can play over, that people could sing over, and in an acoustic setting, it's easy to replicate. So that's why I focus on melody for a few reasons, but those are some of the reasons why I focus on melody.
That's a great reason. Acoustic. A lot of entertainers forget about a lot, especially when it comes to our, you know, genre of music. And you have such a plethora of different sounds because you play it alternative. You have the Caribbean background because you got a swing. There's a swing there. I have met a lot of Jamaican producers. I have very close friends, and there's always a syncopation in the beat. You can't hide it.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
always there. They cannot hide it. They cannot hide it. So that's awesome that that's what you present an artist because you're going to play this live. You're going to
Yeah.
go in front of an audience because that's how you got to get your chops up anyway. And even if you are someone at the upper echelon level, boy, if you're at the bottom level, however, wherever you are in the middle, you're going to play this live. And there's nothing more horrible than an awful beat or music sound that can't be played live. I hate it. Or you can't say a band can't. So pretty much you're thinking also for a band to take this on and play this as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah. And, you know, for me, I feel like it's been an approach that worked where it's like, I, you know, don't get me wrong. If I'm inspired by something that's just like, it's what it is but it has the feeling like, yes, that's fine. But for me, I'm always thinking like long term, especially when I do the collaborations where I'm like, yeah, I want to make sure that you can play this live and then a band could play this live. But as long as it has the melody, I feel like the produced sound is definitely going to impact the song itself, because chances are that's going to be what you're introduced to first. But you know, when you play it live, I want to make sure that it translates, so you have options.
That's great. So what are some of the challenges you face when producing instrumental music, and how do you overcome them?
That's a good question. So definitely on the instrumental side, you know, when I'm producing with an artist and they send me the voice note or we're in the studio together, it's kind of it's less challenging because there's direction there, as far as, you know, if it's like both of y'all are collaborating together, you're bouncing ideas off each other, versus like on the instrumental side, there's no vocals. It's just the music itself. But what I found that works is like picking one instrument and saying, okay, this instrument's the lead. So an example of that is on Feel So Good, the single that's out with myself and Rado the Dreamer right now.
By the way, that joint is hard. I love it,
sir. Thank
I
you.
love that joint. That joint got a nice feel good swing to it. So yeah,
I appreciate that, man. Thank you, Santi. So on that record, and I know it has vocals on it, but I'm going to approach it as if it was an instrumental, just for the beat is what I'm critiquing right now. But what I did with that when I was creating that one, so that was one of the beats where actually I sent Rado the beat, and then Rado sent me something back, and I added some more to it. So that one wasn't from scratch from a voice note. That one was like I sent a beat, he sent it back, and then we finished it together. But for that beat, I picked the percussion as like the main lead. And that's what I definitely been doing with my instrumental tracks. If you listen to like any of the instrumental, you might hear an instrument that's more present than the rest. And that's because I choose that instrument as the lead instrument to kind of carry the music, you know, from start to beginning. And then everything else is just kind of supporting that instrument. So that's kind of how I approach my instrumentals.
man, I believe in you, man. I believe in you because you got the vibe. You've always had the vibe. Like, you are a music producer. You are fully like you are a music producer. You have everything that I believe when I look towards a music producer, that I'm like, yeah, I believe in that. I believe in what he's saying. Remember last when you was on our show, you were working on 25 keys?
Yep.
How did that go for you? How did that work out?
You know what? That song worked out really well. So I was working on the video for it. So by the way, everyone, primetimebeats.com, all my videos are there, all my music is there, my bio, everything you need to know about me is there. But yeah, the last time we linked, which was years ago, and I appreciate us relinking, because, you know, this is definitely a treat. But at the time I was working on the video for 25 keys. Shout out to Carlos, shout out to Sakina, you know, everybody involved. Chi, my guy. I got another story for you with Chi, but
okay,
I'll save
that's my dude. I'm cheering my man on over there. That's my dude.
In LA, he's doing his thing. He's really doing his thing.
He is. I'm proud of him, man. I'm super proud of him.
Yeah, I'm really proud of him. He got something coming out soon. I don't know if I could say the name of it because I don't know if he's really announced it yet. But yeah,
don't say it. I love to be surprised about, because him and I still keep in touch. We still chat online all the time.
All right, nice. Bet. Yeah, so with 25 keys, I was working on the video at the time, and we shot the video, and the video was really, really successful. We had a release party for it. I actually had the artist there, the people that were in the video, but I also had like one of my close friend and collaborators, John Mikes, came up, and we did a release party for it, and I had a performance show in DC for it. But yeah, I brought it up because 25 keys, that's one of my favorite like production that I did. You know, I just looked at numbers because, you know, I'm a numbers guy, and that has like the highest Shazam out of anything that I've made. So I'm like, people, wow, it's being reached, and people are Shazamming it. So 25 keys, and the video came out good, and I really like the production on that. That's definitely one that if anyone's listening, any music supervisors definitely want to sync that. So 25 keys by Primetime Beats, all big piano and string instrumental. So, you know, syncs pretty well, one stop. So feel free to hit me up.
Bet, let's chat. I would chat with you after this because I do want to present the music. So as I did last time. So most definitely let's talk about that. Most this guy right here is the truth, and I'm happy to hear that it was so powerful, and I had it on my show. So that's dope. That's dope. Hopefully, I was a part of spreading that message, even though I was only 17 episodes back then. But I think we had a little buzz.
Yeah, it is motion. Y'all still got motion.
We got some motion, man. We don't. Oh, no. Yeah, we got man. Where we at now, completely from where we were before. I had a page that at one point went 35 to 45 million in 1 month. I hit that, and that many people saw us. And I've learned a valuable lesson from that because I'm a social media guy. I'm a geek for social media. I've learned about it being who's watching, not about how many is watching. You know, people are so fixated on the numbers, and we've lost touch with quality. So I love to I embrace the fact we're the quality. We're getting quality numbers, quality people are viewing this. You know what I mean? So you're riding with us. You're part of the organic. You know what I mean? So we got a little thing going, man. I'm happy to hear that though, that we were part of that. That's beautiful for me. Let me ask you some more questions. Let me jump. I got tons of questions.
All right.
Can you share a moment with me when you realized you were starting to get noticed or you gained some traction in the industry?
Yeah. I mean, that's another good question. So I'd say, the transition from here to LA was when we started, getting some attention when I was on the band side. So that's definitely when, people started having like a lot of interest in what we were doing. They liked our story as far as, we high school and college friends, we got together from DC. We started our own thing. We created a following, and then we pretty much just wrote our own ticket. We went to LA. And then once we were in LA, we 10 years consistently in LA. We toured out and about from LA. So I'd say that was when we, as a group, we started getting some attention. But, once each of our band members, we went our different ways. Once I moved back to the East Coast, my second project, Airwaves, that started garnering some attention. And from there, I took some time in between, focus on some other things. And then now, I'm back with, after the life cycle, which was the last release in 21, and now 24, I'm back releasing things on my own. But in between those, I've been producing for other artists, and they've been releasing it, on their own platforms. But I'd say definitely like the transition from DC to LA was when we started getting noticed. And then once I branched off and started doing production and started stretching my wings a little wider outside of the alternative realm, I started getting noticed on like the instrumental side for my music, which is why I focus primarily on the instrumental side. So I could be an artist, but without being a singer or a rapper or anything of that sort. Like I still treat, the instrumental side as an art form, being an artist, and I could also still collaborate. So I like the flexibility.
That's nice. And you recently, if you don't mind me talking about this, became a father not too long ago. Definitely. Congratulations to that, because that is an awesome gift, an amazing gift. And you are a present father, so shout you out for that. Present father, Black father, that's a big deal. I recently became one myself not too long ago. How has that? Auntie. Thank you, man. It is. I look at those people and I'm just like, those are my people, man. Those are my people. How has fatherhood energized you in the music game?
Yeah. So, fatherhood definitely changed me in a big way, definitely for the positive, and I have two, by the way,
Congrats.
And so and one of my daughters are at the age where, she can talk and we can have conversation, and she's very artistic, very musical. So, kids keep you sharp. They keep you sharp because they're learning at a pace that we're not learning at the age that we are. We've learned a lot of what we're going to learn. I mean, we still have room to learn and to grow, but being a parent and interacting with the kid who's growing and learning, I mean, that definitely like energizes me and motivates me. You know, like little things like a week ago, and my daughter, she was just like, yeah, she said, music is a responsibility. And I'm like, well, where did she get that from? How did she even say that? And I can't stop thinking about that. So little things like that where,
wow,
you know, they're
that means
creative.
you're influencing her. You're influencing her. And I feel like, and I'm a spiritual person. I believe in the spirituality, and there's a being there. And with my belief in that, I feel like I heard one time this one guy used to ask his son when his son couldn't really speak because he felt like his son was closer to God at one point than he was. And he'll ask him, what's the key to life? What's the key to life? And eventually he listened to everything his son would tell him. And then one day his son was like, Dad, what are you talking about? You know, he eventually got past thinking he knew the answer, you know, but who knows if that wasn't an answer from something to let you understand that, you know, if that wasn't a gift to you. So I believe in stuff like that, but that's huge for her to say that. That's not average.
No, it's not at all. Like, when she said it, I didn't make a big deal out of it, but I was like, yo, that's profound for a kid that small to say something like that. And whether she knows it or not, it's, you know, definitely for me, it was profound and it left a huge impact on me. But I mean, I feel like that's what parenting is. Every day is different. And, you know, you don't know what you're going to get one day, but like it's bonus every day because, you know, you're seeing a being like transform every day and just learning things and then just putting things into action. So for me, like that's like a big part of what inspires me every day. It was like I get to be, you know, I get to be involved in someone's life as they're learning everything about the world. And they're inspiring me while they're doing it. You know, hopefully I'm inspiring them also. But to me, it's a two-way street. But, you know.
She make me feel so. She make me feel so. She make me feel so. She make me feel so good. So good. She make me feel so. She make me feel so. She make me feel so. She make me feel so good. So good. So many ups and downs since we've been around. Am I talking to you now or I'm thinking out loud? Remember I was there all them times you was down. You was lost and I found you. We turned that tuna fish into flounder. Used to bring you truffle popcorn every night. Just to see you smile, that's a cost that is priceless. Got each other rings and that marriage it was licensed. Remember no swimsuit, reach for a light swim. Remember holding hands, bare feet, climbing mountains. Memories, memories. Every time you mention me, all you really wanted is some